There's a saying from the ancient world which is called the tiger. Actually, it's I guess a parable. When confronted with a tiger in the woods, you can do three things. You can ignore the tiger and hope he'll go away. You can run away and hope you can escape. Or you can attack and defeat the tiger. And what we have today is most of the population is ignoring the tiger and hoping it will go away or someone else will take care of it. This will not happen. There's a book called 1984, which is required reading in Canadian schools, which is where I am. And it was written in 1932, released in 1933. And it talks about a world where the population is controlled by the content of the news. And the news is changed at the whim and the needs of the ruling party, of which there is only one. And it is a totalitarian and miserable world. This was written by George Orwell. And there's a second book he wrote, which generally the second book doesn't get the same notoriety as the first one, called Brave New World, where he predicted after 1984, further in the future, there would be genetic manipulation of the humans, animal, to produce different levels of IQ for different levels of slavery, and there was an overclass. And Steven Spielberg's first movie, which is just a number, like 10652 or something, is about a underground world where there are only test tube babies. And this movie's largely ignored. There was a poet in England called Percy Bysshe Shelley who wrote poetry, which we were forced to read in school. His wife, Mary Shelley, wrote the book Frankenstein, where someone reanimated a dead corpse, and that was the technology. And to make it into like a horror book, they accidentally dropped the brain of the genius they were going to put in there and dug a brain up, a murdering psychopath out of the graveyard, and put it in the creature. She also wrote a second book, which was largely ignored. I don't know the name of that book, but it was about a viral plague in 2020 wiping out mankind. So, we are now here, this is 2022, in a world which is controlled by the news and social media, censorship, and there's a viral plague. And there could be others. These dingbats have been inventing bioweapons for decades, and they have stuff that can take down a city in a few hours. So they have decided that we are the scourge of the planet and need to be taken out. On top of that, I've been doing research into history of mankind for a long time. There's a man called Randall Carlson who's has a podcast, and he has introduced this term called CATASTROPHISM, which is about worldwide catastrophes that happen on a regular and irregular basis. And he's gone to the sites where there are proof of this and collected records from different countries around the world describing similar events in the local language and sophistication level. And they are happen every 400 years at Saturn's closest approach, and every 2,000 years, and every 10,000 years. And next year we have coming up the 10,000 year one, which is the 4 outer gas giants are going to line up in such a way that their gravity and magnetism is going to ripple the surface of the Earth. The Earth will be behind the Sun on the other side of the solar system from these 4 gas giants, and when the Earth comes around the Sun, gets exposed, there's an immediate click where the gravities connect, and it's like 2 magnets. When you put them close, suddenly they go bang. That's going to happen to this planet, and that usually brings the worldwide end of civilization because of earthquakes, volcanism, and tsunamis. Then darkened skies and no crops and no civilization. And in the case of modern man and woman, that kind of shaking will destroy the underground water mains, underground sewer mains, the gas lines. A lot of people have gas heating, electricity to run everything, including water pumps. And there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and nobody can or will help you, because there's going to be the very, 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 very small percentage of first responders and millions upon billions of people in need of help. So this is if we had a real civilization, we as a species would know this. I know this. How do I know this? It's in books. It's all available. Just go to the library and say, could I have this book? And they'll hand it to you, and you read it, and you go, oh, okay. Geologists have been digging into the past, doing ice cores and ground cores, and they see the cyclic nature of disasters, floods, earth changes, temperature changes, big enough to destroy civilization on a worldwide basis. And you can look this up. And just one example is the west coast of North America every 400 years there's a shifting of the plates, and the giant tsunami comes in and destroys the coastline. And we're overdue for that. And geologists and volcanists and other people have cut down several feet of the coastline, and you see dirt, mud, dirt, seafloor, dirt, more seafloor at regular intervals. It's been happening for thousands of years and will continue to, and we should be aware of that as a species. Unfortunately, there are two groups that are aware of this, and that is the mystery schools and those who wish to dominate the rest of us, which is why this information is not out in the public and why we are caught unawares. Now, added to the cyclic nature of these disasters are random meteor and comet attacks. Everyone has probably heard of the meteor that hit the Yucatan Peninsula and killed the dinosaurs off. That's just one. There are probably 2,500 of these. The Earth actually, if you stripped off the vegetation, would look pretty similar to the moon as far as impacts. And one good impact is able to change the planet. The amount of energy that's hit is like 10, 20, or 200,000 times the energy of the Hiroshima bomb. And that will probably bounce the crust down, and then it goes out in a wave like they show in the science fiction movies all around the planet, a concussion wave, fires from the exploded rocks, and then smoke from the fires darkening the skies, making it harder to grow crops. And without a civilization that has a handle on this, you get people saying God must be mad at us to have done this. And those who wish to rule say, yes, we told you that, you're being bad, and now look what's happened. And this is the history of humans on planet Earth. Now, the Great Reset is timed to coincide with this disaster, which is 2023. This is the reason the elites are digging in underground, hoping to make it through this with their wealth and resources. And this is the reason that archaeologists are finding underground cities carved out of rock, or mostly limestone, which is actually a lot softer than rock. Why were they here? Why were there 20,000 people living underground? Because they were waiting for this disaster or a meteor strike, and they knew that it was coming, so they prepared. I live on the coast. Where I am right now, I'm probably 12 feet above sea level. There's a river here going that way, and when the tide comes in, it goes on top of the river and goes 50 miles up. And about 100 miles up is where the mountains start. So if the big tsunami came in here, 90 feet high or 1,200 feet high. It would go 100 miles inland, take out 1.5 million people and all of the farmland animals. That's where all the corn comes from, and the beef and the chickens and the pigs. They're all in this one valley, and there's nothing. There's mountains on either side and at the far end. So we'd be gone, and the water mains would be broken, the gas would be broken. There's 5 bridges to get in here, and they'd all be down. So I'd have 1.2 million people trapped in a 30 square mile area, starving to death, and probably drowned. So there is the prepper community and the alternative news community trying to warn people that something bad is coming. They're doing it to the depth of their knowledge. And they blame the government or corruption or the 1%. But blaming is not going to save you. You need to, if you want to survive this, you need to prepare for 2 to 5 years of absolute poverty, no supplies, no help. And all of this could be avoided. We have the technology to feed everyone. We have unlimited sunshine energy that could be converted to electricity, which is our major form. I have a lens from an old theater spotlight. It's about that big, about 6 inches deep. If you hold that thing like a magnifying glass, it's right apart like that. It's just so much energy that it just boom. If you take a place like Death Valley and covered it with devices to boil water to make steam, and the water would be recycled. Even the lens that would do that could be plastic filled with water. There's a guy on YouTube who did that. He just took a regular plastic sheet and filled it with water, and it made a parabolic shape, and he lined it up with the way the sun goes across the sky. He was boiling water all day long on a massive scale in the desert. We could do that. Turn it into microwaves and beam it across the desert to be distributed back into electricity. We have all that tech. Tide waters could be in and out, could be turned into energy. And if there wasn't a they who wanted to profit, actually continue to profit off of us, as they have done for millennia, or maybe millions of years, we would be taught this stuff in school, and we'd all be working at that and having a safe and secure, clean planet. All the stuff that we need to solve the problems we have now was in popular mechanics when I was a child. And I know we have much better stuff now. And in 1984, there was 3 sayings of the government, which is: war is peace, Ignorance is strength. And freedom is slavery. And freedom is slavery is, they say, we say, man has free will. So we have a human who wants something. He wants a lifestyle. And he has the free will to go out and get it. This is a single unit being in a two communication terminal universe. Up, down, black, white, I, you, good, bad. And to make something work, the laws in this universe are you need three forces to make something work. So without esoteric knowledge of the things I'm talking about, the third force is like the active force of a human being wanting something, acting on the universe, the land, or others, creates a mess. The third force on this planet lately has been religion. So you have the active force of the human being on his environment in the presence of a third force, which is God, which is religion, which is putting out rules for survival. Like don't kill people. Don't cheat on your wife. Don't steal. All that stuff is pro-survival. And the only way they have been able to tame mankind is by saying God will get you if you're bad. Or you'll go to hell. Or if you're good, you'll go to heaven. And in an educated society, one would not need the third force of a religion. Third force would be knowledge, understanding, and philosophy. Dare we dream. So the mystery schools hang on to this information and let it out in the form of books and schools and teachings, mysterious tablets.